the World Healing Tour movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world. Hello, and welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I'm also the author of the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because the grass is greenest where you are when you say so. When you choose to live in a place of no comparison, no competition, and no scarcity. When you choose to live in your own love and light and share your unique gifts with the world, because we're all unique. And that's why it's called the World Healing Tour. Because when you heal yourself, you truly create that ripple effect in the world for others to follow and to heal themselves as well and create a positive impact for all. Each week, I have incredible guests come into studio and pour into you. I'm super excited about my guest this week because not only is he an incredible man, but he's also a personal friend. Ed Roberts is a man who speaks softly but carries deep wisdom, not the kind that comes from textbooks, but rather from real-life experience. Ed began to study emotional intelligence and neuroscience patterns that keep people stuck. Today, he helps people reconnect to themselves and to be more present in their life and more aware of their actions. Ed, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here today. I love you and your wife. You guys are an incredible couple, and I'm grateful that we actually socialize outside of the podcast studio.
You're very kind. We enjoy the company too. It's great to have people with a like mindset that are reaching out to each other, encouraging and help build off each other. So the gift is more ours than yours.
Oh, thank you. Well, it goes both ways, so thank you for saying that. So I want to start by, I've been really looking forward to having you on the podcast. I mean, you really are, when people look at you, you exude health and well-being, and somebody who's doing a lot of great things to keep themselves healthy, mindset, body, mind, soul, fitness, all those things that you do. Why is that so important to you, to be healthy, to be well? Why is that so important to everything that you're doing?
Well, anyone, it's typical old wisdom, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. All the wealth in the world will mean nothing to you. You'll spend it all to get health. And you automatically most people are blessed to start with good health. And then over time, the systems that are around them, the choices that they make, the ideas that they believe, the philosophies that they have, get them off. And pretty soon they're so far adrift that they don't know what real health is. And what I mean by health is that you're good with yourself, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit, and they're all working together. Because if you're not working in that triad, you really can't be, and I won't use happiness because happiness is a concept, but you really won't be the person I think you're meant to be.
Right, and we all want to become the people we're meant to be, but we're not always making the right choices. And I know that you talk a lot about our choices and how our choices really do create our lives, and I love that because I believe that too. I always say you make your bed and you sleep in it. The choices we make today really do create, the future we have. And we can always, choose again, but, we do have a lot of impact with our choices. Let's talk about choices and what you found it as far as impact goes in our lives.
A lot of times people will look for that big decision. They're always looking for big decisions that supposedly have these great changes. But that's really not how life really works. It works in small incremental choices stacked on each other that get you where you want to go. They're looking for this great epiphany, or there's one thing that changes. Yes, that can happen, but it doesn't happen nearly as often as, what's the old saying, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. Most people won't have an apple. I mean, if you can't take that small little choice, going to these giant ones just doesn't make sense. So it's going back to, I think, time-tested truth, not opinions or ideas. People, if you live within a certain space, you'll typically be okay. If your mindset's in a certain space, you'll typically be okay. If you're making decisions in a certain space, you'll typically be okay. Yes, you'll have things that'll happen, but most of the time, you're about 95% in control of your life. Absolutely. Choices.
Yeah, and being okay is not really what we want, right?
Well, I don't know anybody says, you know what? I don't want to be rich. I just want to have enough. Or I don't want to be really healthy. I want to be okay. You know, we're always, the human nature is to be more. And more isn't just a gathering, it's a fulfilling of that need inside of you to expand into the universe. Because as you do that and you step into that potential, it's not that you change yourself as much as it changes the people around you and they change the people around them. So one person can have a profound effect on the legacy of their family.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ripple effect is amazing. I know for you, health and well being is a very important part of who you are. And you have a lot of non negotiables, like things that you do consistently because you know they're going to get you the results that you want. Let's talk a little bit about your non negotiables and what you do to step into them daily.
Well, I think part of it is you have to, and I'll take a little step back. I think it's have a philosophy. What's that philosophy for you? I mean, a real philosophy, not an idea or a concept. And the philosophy is here's how I want to live, here's how I want to be. And I'm committed to this journey. Now I have like a rudder down, and I can go in a direction. You can always change it. But most people don't even have anything down. They're just kind of going where the current takes them. And so once you have that, you're saying, okay, now health matters to me. And it wasn't always the case for me. You know, I got caught up in life, and you make choices or decisions, or you think you did, you really didn't, and you got off. And one day you're kind of looking and saying, I just don't feel right. Something, like you're talking about in the healing, you just don't feel right. You're not connected to yourself. You're not connected to the authentic body that you have because this was meant to last you your whole life. It was meant to carry you through everything you need to do. And it's not about being a bodybuilder or anything of that, you know, that extreme, but you can certainly get more out of yourself. And an older person that has more muscle does better. And you know that you see a lot of fads and a lot of things that happen, but some of the non-negotiables is that I think that you have to start with the mindset. You can't really get beyond that, and that is you have to start thinking the right way. Really, it's just starts with thinking. And another powerful thing I think is that like a non-negotiable is the words you use. Words you use, like some people say, never, always, can't, shouldn't. Those are self-fulfilling. They're not true. You know, what you believed 10 years ago as opposed to now, completely different.
Absolutely. And our limited beliefs can hold us back from getting where we want to be. So I always say your words create your world, and your world is created by your words. I think words are so powerful and how we use them on a daily basis. What are some tips you can give us to be able to use our words in a more powerful way to get what we want?
The old analogy I heard a long, long time ago, well, it was always true, is remember Muhammad Ali when he said he was the greatest? Well, he actually became the greatest. But before he was the greatest, he was telling himself he was the greatest. And actually, his wife told him, you need to start telling yourself you're the greatest. And he started doing it, and it became self-fulfilling. Obviously, the talent and so forth. But again, you can't get beyond your limiting beliefs. And there are limiting beliefs. You think it's not possible. It's not. You know, you'd be surprised what you can do. But you can't do it if you don't believe it. And when you start with that concept and using the right words, that when we went to the gym, I said, you start with a couple simple things. Before you do an exercise, I visualize that exercise happening. I've seen myself do it. Now my mind knows it, because remember, the mind doesn't know truth from lie, reality from fantasy. It doesn't know the difference. It only knows what you tell it. So you start with that visualization. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Then I start using the words, I'm going to do this. You know, it's sounds like manipulation, but it's actually true. You know, you'll get up there, I can do this, I can do it. You can. And that just starts the process, because if you don't have these underlying principles laid down, it's very hard to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a schedule? Like, are you a very routine person? Do you have a schedule? Like, I know you work out like 5 days a week. Like, what is there a routine that you do? Do you meditate? Do you do anything to keep yourself more present, more aware, making better choices? Like, how do you find that inner time?
Well, I work with a lot of executives and worked in corporate for a long, long time, and they have routines. You know, everyone has a routine. It's just not getting what they want, or it's not a good routine. And by good, I mean it's not producing what you want. So, for instance, my routine is when I get up in the morning, I already know what's going to happen. Most of it's just autopilot anymore because you do it so often that it just happens. And now you can take your mind from thinking about these things I have to do to thinking about things I want to do. This stuff's already going to happen. It's just going to happen. You know, bad habits. Bad habits is easy to produce as a good habit. You do it long enough and it becomes part of a ritual, you know, and then it's just part of who you are. So morning, I wake up, I'll usually lay there, I'll do a little meditation, I'll say a lot of gratitude. One thing I found that somebody taught me was awesome was, as far as gratitude, is write down at least 100 things a day you're grateful for. And I would challenge people that they'll get to 25 and they'll get stuck because they can't think of things to be grateful for. And once you start getting deeper, they go, oh, okay, I'm thankful for my bed, it's cold. I'm thankful for where I can, this view, I'm thankful. There's so many things to be thankful for. Now your mind's wired to be grateful. Now the universe sees you differently.
I love gratitude. Gratitude is
I know you
something
do.
that, gets us from being stuck to moving forward, because grateful has a moving forward energy. And so for that reason, I love gratitude as well.
It's really powerful because, again, it gets your mind in the right place that it can receive the energy it needs, that your awareness is raised, your capabilities are raised, and you're not starting from, like most people, they start from a fear or mostly a fear background or an insecurity. Most people are dealing in their fears and their insecurities. And so you're kind of pushing that off, saying, you know what? I'm good. I've got a good life. We all have great lives. You have a great life, if you look at what you have.
Right.
So, and then from there, I'll usually wake up. I usually do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups. Then I start.
Now he's giving us his real secrets. I love that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it sounds hard. Trust me, everybody says it's really hard. You start with 5. Then you start with 1. You just build. But
I love it.
anyway,
Keep going. 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups.
100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups.
You guys.
Then I go on and make my protein shake. I make my breakfast, shower up. I'm good. And I've started the day. And again, I have a laminated card I keep by my bed. I take it out every day, look it over. And then sometime in there, depending on how, a little fluidity, is I journal. Another great thing I would have never thought. I thought, man, that just seemed kind of lame to me back in the day. But journaling is so important because you find out who you were and you see who you become. And somebody told me that the best library you'll ever have in your life is yours. The journals you wrote, because look at this gem I wrote here. Look at this idea, all this stuff, and you see a progression in your life saying, wow, that's a pretty good life. So in a library, look for the journals. That's where the gold lays. But doing that journaling, writing down your gratitude, and going back to the gratitude, just start by writing 25, 50, if you can do 100 a day. If it's the same ones, it doesn't matter. But writing them down, not typing them. Because when you write, it's called motor anchoring. Anchoring this movement to this. Typing doesn't do that. And they seem like little silly things, but they actually work. They really do.
Yeah, the little things are the big things, right?
Little things stacked on top of each other. And pretty soon you've got a mountain. And it was just incremental. Somebody said, I don't have time to work out. Okay. What do you have time for? You have time for the things you want. This will sound.
It's an excuse, right?
It's usually an excuse.
Yeah.
I heard something, again, this is interesting in a kind of a negative way, but you know that crack addicts, no matter how bad their life is, are always able to get crack. You want to talk about powerful and overcoming? Look what they have to do with no resources to get what they want every day.
It's amazing.
That's amazing. So,
That's a mindset for you.
It's a mindset for anyone. They have a mindset, I've got to get crack. Now, that's horrible, and I don't mean to sound like that, but you think about that person can do that with zero resources. Everything against them every single day. So what can you do?
So we're a lot more resourceful than we think we are.
You have, that's where I think that growing into your physicality, pressing yourself to whatever that place is within you, because you can always move further than you are. Again, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be some model, but you can be a better you. And pressing your body to get the most out of it, you start to rewire your brain. You start to see things differently. You start to become more confident. And then you got to watch your ego, but you become more confident because you're stepping into your power is really what you're doing.
I love that. So why do we self-sabotage so much? Because it's like we all have time to go to the gym and work out, right? But so many people don't find time for meditation, don't find time for the gym. Like, it's just like they can't see how they can give themselves that 1 hour, their 20 minutes, And again, it comes down to limited beliefs, right?
Well, if you don't have time to put in yourself at least every day a little bit or every week, your schedule's wrong. Your schedule's wrong. I tell everybody, show me your calendar and your checkbook. I know what matters to you. Simple as that. So you can talk all you want, but that's the reality. And so what matters to you? And everybody says, you don't know, I got a family, and here comes the excuses. When anyone starts with an excuse right after that, you ask them, instead of saying, well, what could I do? I can do something. And something becomes something, and then you're stacking them.
And it's the consistency.
Consistency, bad behaviors, any behavior can become a habit, good or bad. But a lot of times you don't have maybe someone, and I don't like to use the words coach because coaching is kind of overused a lot. But I like to talk about somebody that can help you with your performance. Tiger Woods, when he was the best golfer in the world, not even close, had coaches because he couldn't see his own swing. So you always, the more professional, the higher up you get, the more you need because you can't see what you can't see. And so people can come in and they can say, well, Noah, have you thought of this? I never thought of that. Or I never saw it that way. They can get you to step out of yourself and then you can use your talents to move forward.
Yeah. We all need mentors, right? Starting with our parents when we're young, right? And if they're not good mentors, then, which a lot of
I know
us
what that
have
is.
that, right?
I know that was.
Then we have to find other people that can help us because there's people who walked this journey before us and they can show us the way instead of us trying to reinvent the wheel, because we're all on very similar journeys. Even though we're not all exact, we all have very similar, we all have the same hopes and dreams. We want to be our very best deep inside. But sometimes it's just covered by so many layers that we have to dig so deep within ourselves to figure out what it is that we truly want. And we self-sabotage a lot. Like you said in the beginning, like we don't stay in our lane, right? Because we always think one of the things, that the grass is greenest somewhere else. We think somebody else's life is better than us. And so we're so busy looking outside and not being present to our own lives. And I know you talk a lot about being present and how important it is to be more present to your life.
Well, you see it in a gym. I always tell people comparison is the thief of joy. Because no matter what they do won't change you. And it's so easy to see someone else's race and take it on. And you lose track of your own. Again, even though our journeys may be similar, your pathway is going to be unique to you. It has a lot of similarities, but it's going to be unique. And so I don't have to take you all the way down the path. I can show you, I can guide you, I can kind of move you along, and then you make the choices to move you forward. And in that journey of that process, that's where your greatness is found. In everyone, that's where your greatness is found. Like, okay, I can do this. You always could. I thought, you talk to somebody and they'll do an accomplishment and say, I don't believe I can do that. You always could. That was always there. You just brought it out.
Yeah, it's like the ruby red slippers, right? You've always had them on, right? But
Nothing changed. It's just your mindset and your belief systems, but you built confidence over time. And you put people around you that help you, that inspire you, people that can pull you when you're not able to do it yourself, because everyone gets down. Everyone loses that confidence. It's just part of the human nature. But when you have people around you say, yeah, Noah, I know where you're at, come on, get back up, and they get you back up and you start going again. But as you said, it's really choosing a mindset, choosing a belief system. And you have to kind of find your unique one, but it's there. Everything you have that you've got everything you've ever needed to accomplish everything you've ever needed to do. It's already there. It's just getting it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to remove those layers. That we all have layers, right? So why do we so often self-sabotage, even though we have it all inside of us? What do you think? Because I know you help people get unstuck when they get stuck. So what are some tools or some things that you would help people with being more high performance in their lives? Because like you said, we get in our own way.
Again, you have to remember that a lot of times these people are coming from fear or insecurity, like most people. A lot of times, even being successful, people are afraid to succeed. You know, I know you kind of experienced it in your mind at one time. I did. You know what's there, but I can't really see it. I can't see that pathway. So you start to bring in that self-doubt. And somebody's got to say, no, you're on the right path. Just stay with it. Just one more time. Just one more time. And then all of a sudden it happens. And so we have a lot of noise in the background that's always working on us. You know, you can't do it. Your family told you this. There's a million things. It's always coming at you because the experience that we're living is not meant for people to succeed at without intentionality. And so most people don't. They take what they're given and they go through life. And so they're typically unhappy, unhealthy. You know, it's not where and then they wake up 70 years old thinking, where did the time go? And it really was choices. But when you put people around you that can wake up your spirit, just wake it up. Say, I'm going to show you what you have. Now you're going to have to work it out. But I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you how to work that out. But you're going to have to do the work, you know. And then when they do it and they start to get those little confidences or these little achievements, they just start to explode. And then one day, as I mentioned earlier, all of a sudden they're like, I got it. But you always did. You always had it. You just realized it now. Now you've grown into that potential. And now you start seeing, well, if I can do that, I can do that. I can do that. And then the world really just opens up in front of you. The people around you will see you differently. The people around you will experience you differently. And that's where you change the world. I can't change you or this world. I have no influence over it. But I have a lot of change in me. When I change this will change.
Yeah, I always say if every person was just responsible for themselves, what a beautiful world it would be. It's not about anybody else. If you could just be responsible for you and how you show up daily, everybody changes around you because you show up differently. And then people get inspired by who you are and they want to show up differently. And that's kind of like how it, creates that ripple effect.
Well, it's very easy sometimes for you to get pulled off. We all do.
Yes.
Where you're driving down the highway and all of a sudden somebody lays on that horn and instantly they've got you. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're just blood pressure goes right up and you're crazy. Like all they did was honk a horn. I mean, come on. So your lack of self-awareness is profound. It says, they honk the horn. Okay, just keep going about your way. So you allow people to influence you a lot more than you think. And by having really learning about self-awareness, and I call it the power of the pause. Stop. Stop. Most bad decisions happen within 10 seconds. Most words you can never take back happen in 10 seconds.
I love when you talk about the power of the pause. Let's talk about that a little bit and how you came to that, because I love that. I think that's really important. If we learn to pause, we can show up differently.
That's through just personal experience because I was very reactive. I mean, I was very confrontational. Again, that's background, there a lot of reasons. But what I realized after taking a lot of beatings, physical beatings, mental beatings, you name it, I took a lot of them, that wait a second, this isn't working. It isn't working. So nothing says you have to respond right away. Nothing. There's no timer running, but people think they gotta get it out just super fast. And a lot of times the things you say are kind of dumb. If you really listen to it, when you respond to something, sometimes it's pretty dumb. And stop saying, when I hear you say something, I stop. I can process. It gives my reactivity and my reason, they can come closer together. And so now you're typically not going to do or say something you regret. you're typically going to have much better self-control, emotional control, and you're able to be intentional. It's a learned skill. Promise you that. It's a learned skill. It takes time, but you practice it. I didn't do well that time. I'll do better next time. But more and more you get better at it. Pretty soon, it doesn't affect me. They honk the horn. You're like, you can sit there and look into space like, huh, you know, I don't really care. I'm not experiencing that with them because it's all about taking your piece.
We give our peace away so easily to other people. Like it's so funny because I hear my daughter. She's 19, and like we'll be on the phone sometime, and she's driving now. So I hear her like getting upset at drivers, and I'm like, oh, where did she get that from? You know, and I'm like, oh my God, like you know, we're so emotional, you know, and the emotions can really destroy things that we want to build, and even in relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Especially in relationships. I think
It's
it can really get in the way.
again, and learning through a lot of negotiations I did and with in the businesses is that the power of the pause is pretty powerful if you use it correctly, not in a abnormal way. But you ask me a question, I just stop and I look at you. They start to become very uncomfortable relatively quickly. Now you've taken them out of a different position, and you didn't do anything other than just stop. I'm just being thoughtful. You're more controlled, and people feel that control. It allows you again to not act, react, do dumb things because we're all subject to do that. And I had a moment just today where it slipped away from me just that quick, and you're always in that battle. I was pulling out, and I wasn't pulling it just a little bit, and this person stopped right in front of me and just staring at me. I'm like, take a picture. Like, just staring at it. First thing I was thinking, uh-oh, that kind of that line wants to come out. And it wanted to. I was like, no, just calm. But it's so easy to happen because it's in our nature to be that way sometimes. And kids are, what do they say? I heard another saying or another statistic that most people in prison, their actions or the things they did was because they have very low impulse control. So if you can't control your reactions, you're having impulse issues.
Yeah, I believe that. Okay, because I watch a lot of YouTube, and I see things that people do, and I'm like, you had like it doesn't even make sense to me, and they have to be in such a negative space to be able to react in that way, you know, especially to someone that they've loved and they've been with for a long time. How can you just, you know, cross that line? But I guess the emotions are so strong that they're not even in a good state of mind when they create, you know, have a crime or, you know, hurt
It's
somebody.
again, if you have that power, that pause, just taking some time, really thinking through it, you'll find that life's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more intentional. It's a practice skill. It really is a practice skill, but you start today. I didn't do well. I'll do better next time. But I'm making an intentionality, being intentional to do these things. And when you do, again, it's those little things. And pretty soon it was like the thing I learned a long time ago, which was epiphany to me, was how to really forgive.
I was just going to go over to forgiveness, so I love that
I
you took
didn't.
us there.
I was done very wrong. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. We've all been done wrong. And I was not letting it go. I was just falling into it. And so somebody said, "You remember, forgiveness isn't for that person. It's for you. You know, you're allowing them to continue to punish you." And so it framed it differently for me. So I'm not going to let them punish me anymore. So it's kind of like the anti-action. So what I started doing is just say, I forgive them. And I just said it in like a mantra over and over and over all the time until one day I was like, huh, wow, I actually do forgive them. That was easy. Type you hit that it was really like that. But it took a while. And I was like, wow, how simple that little choice was. But it allowed me to understand what forgiveness really is. You know, you're forgiving even though it happened to you, you carry the baggage. And forgiveness is for you, not for that person.
Yeah.
You know, but people think when they're forgiving, it's for them. No, it's really really kind of a selfish act. It's for yourself.
Yeah, it's giving yourself the freedom to move forward and to no longer be stuck, right? When we
No
were
longer be
talking
stuck because
about,
you carry that baggage from the past. You're bringing it forward. That person that may have done you wrong, that thing that happened, they're gone. They don't care less, and they still rent that space in your head. they don't deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I teach my son who has special needs is because he's sweet and he's very sensitive, and so there's a lot of mean people out there that don't always treat him really nice. So I teach him, Ori, they're a nobody. Like I tell him, like literally, it's a nobody. Like don't give them any power. They mean nothing to you. They're not paying your rent. They're not taking care of you. They're not paying for your school, for your food. They're nobody, you know? And so that's really helped him to cope with other people's negative energy and negative emotions.
Yeah, it's we live in a fallen world, and so it's really for the strong. You know, and what I mean by strong is you find that internal strength. You build people around you, build that community. You develop habits and behaviors that give you that strength, and you become stronger and stronger, and then you can pass the strength on to other people, because most people live in complete oblivion to what's really going on. You know, in their health, the choices they make, healing, you know, the simple things that you can absolutely take control of right now that can change your world. It's not, you know, people are looking for this a giant thing to happen. It's usually just a small thing over and over and over. You know, how do you become an alcoholic? I just drink. And I drink and I drink and I drink and I drink and drink. It's not that hard. Same thing. So, you know, you have to put people around you that they can speak that vision into you, that they see in you. Like, no, I can see that in you. Let me help you. Let me, you know, kind of pull along, because people going together, you know, three can accomplish what 100. So, you know, build people around you that have that. If they're not people, then you don't make a big production of it. You just slowly transition them out and bring the people in.
Yeah, I love that. And you're very patient. I know you really love to help people and you're very patient. Why is it very important for you to help others on the journey and be a mentor?
Well, patience is something I've had to develop. It's not in my nature, I promise you that. But again, these changes are about how do you become that better person. I always want more in myself, just because I know there's more. And you know, I was in a meeting, a group of people, and they said, well, "You've done all this," and you know, they see me as super successful. It's all, you know, to me, it's all irrelevant. It's just we're all in a different space. I said, "See, what you're thinking that you're not the same as me. That's not true. We're in a different place together, but it almost says you're demeaning yourself, and that's just not true." I said, they said, "Well, why would you come and help us?" I said, "See, you're not in that headspace. You don't get it. Me helping you is for me. It's not for you. It's like forgiveness. It's not for you. It's for me. Because when I do one for you, I do two for me. I reinforce what I know to be true twice in myself." I said, when you get there, you know, when you get through that journey and you're further along, and you know, you see people in their different places. When you get to that place, you'll be like, "I get it. It makes sense now." So it's an unselfish, selfish thing to do. And you're reinforcing the truths that you know to be for yourself. You're able to bring people along, and then those people you connect with in ways that you never know where that can take you.
I love that. And you know, we're all leaders, right? And it's about like nurturing your own seed so you can show up as the leader that you're meant to be, you know? And they see so much in you because they aspire to be more of a leader, right? And so they have to keep nurturing themselves, but you're here to support them, which is incredible. You know, you're here to pour into them. And it's about staying humble. It's not about being ego. Like nobody's above you, nobody's below you. We're all the same. We're all on a similar journey. We might be at different places, but we're all here to grow ourselves and to become better and do better. And that's why we seek so much to help others, because we really want to leave this world better than we found it.
You would think so. You know, most people are just here to experience the world, and they're not here to make a difference. And what I mean is a difference in yourself. That difference in yourself changes the world. And most people, I think they have that unsettled spirit, that thing they can't put their finger on. You talk to people long enough, you can find it. That little thing that's just in here, it's just gnawing at them. They can't put their finger on it, but it's just out of touch, and they can't figure out what it is. And when you do, and you kind of like touch that, they open right up. They're like, wow.
I know what it is. I know what it is. It's unworthiness, you guys. If you don't feel worthy inside of yourself, You're not going to feel like you deserve those things. You're not going to see yourself like being able to accomplish as much as somebody else who has accomplished it. So when you can change that story inside of yourself, that, and especially that story, that foundation of, you have to know that you're worthy. You know, when you know you're worthy, I feel like it opens up a whole new space for you in life.
Well, everyone's worthy. Everyone's got talents and abilities. I mean, the universe doesn't put something here it doesn't need, and it doesn't duplicate something it already has. So that means you're unique. You're here for specifically some reason. I don't know what that is, but it's unique to you. And you got to think of it, you know, I'm one of billions, but I'm one of billions. And I'm here for a purpose. And I'm not better, I'm not worse. I'm just in a different journey. And when you do think, you know, most people don't understand their true value. I mean, their true value, because no one's ever taught them. No one's ever showed them how to build that value and how to blank out the noise around them, how to see things in a different way. And when they do, you really open up their universe. And it's just, it's so, I say it's so simple and it's so hard.
It's so simple and so complicated.
So,
So Ed, how were you able to build your value?
well, coming up, just briefly, I mean, I had every disadvantage going against me. When I say everyone, a single family, a single parent mom in poverty, in a very crime-ridden area, part of town, shot, stabbed, fighting every day, thrown out of 4 high schools. If it was bad, abuse, every type of abuse, I had it all. And I'm not saying that because that was just the journey. But, you know, something I can't, you know, there's a lot of things I can point to, but sometime that thing has to rise up in yourself and say, no, no more. And, you know, my thing is, I've heard it a lot of places, but I've always said is that whenever somebody else says something, I said, that's not how this story ends. Not going to happen like that. And you say no, and we all have that. But you learn.
How did you get past that?
Well, how I got past it was I just made some intentionality. I started making choices. I started thinking, wait a second, I've got to listen to that inner self. And I didn't know what that was, so I had to kind of develop that. And I started looking for resources, looking for people outside of me that could point me in a direction. And it was a hunger to go further. I knew there was more, I just didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what it was about, and I didn't believe in myself. And so as I started developing to a more physicality, I started seeing what I could do. Okay, that's possible. And things just start to grow a little at a time. It's for a much longer discussion, but it can happen. I've seen it happen to a lot of people, and it's so cool. It is absolutely so beautiful to see it because you see that person finally open up and say, there it is. There it is, finally. You know, it's like, I've been staring at this thing, now you get to see it. It's more for me than it is for them. I can't even explain it. It really, that gives me really energy. When
That
see
lights
person.
you up.
Oh,
That lights you up.
it
I
does.
love
It
that.
fires
And that's why you do what you do,
I
helping others, because you get lit up with that. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't even know that about you. So I'm just finding out things as well. So the time's gone by really fast, Ed. How do people connect with you, find you, work with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram quite a bit, and I put out a lot of quotes, and they're just quotes to start you in a rewired mind process. They're not mine. Some are mine that I wrote. Some are ones that I picked up that I thought were really good. And it's to get you out of your frame of mind, because where you're at will only take you to where you're at. You know, how do we shift that? How do we get you to see the actual potential, not probability, what's really there, show you by my experience that I went through this, that it's not only is it possible, it happens. And then there's some disciplines you can add. There's some processes you can add, and I'll work with anyone to help them do that. You can go to Ed Roberts Coaching at Gmail. You can reach out to me that way. We'll have Reason Speaks as far as podcasting and so forth. And it's just a lot of different ways I'm trying to reach out there to connect with people, because I work with a group of a couple hundred executives right now to help them see what they can't see. And that's really interesting. And I worked in the professional space for a number of years, and I did that. So a lot of times people can't see their business, and whether it's your business, your body, your mind, or your spirit, it's the same.
Or your personal life.
Personal life, it all comes together. But you start with the things that you have to do. Let's start by making you healthy. because none of this other stuff will matter. It's healthy in your mind and your spirit, healthy in your body, get you making different choices. Now we can start layering these things in, like when I was showing you at the gym. And what did I show you? A couple things. You're like, wow, here's how you were doing it. Here's how you do it. Completely different.
Yeah.
And it was a difference of about 5%. The greatness is in about 5%. That's it. So it's not magic. It's just a little different. And you're like, wow. But people can't see that. So it's working with people to get them from where they're at to where they want to go.
I love that, Ed. This has been such a great conversation. I'm learning so much about you, and you're amazing, and your wife's amazing, and I love the work you're doing, and I'm excited that we're connected. And please connect with Ed. He can really support you on wherever you want to go. It's all within your own power to reach there. I want to thank you so much, Ed, for being today on the World Healing Tour podcast. I want to thank you all for being today on the World Healing Tour podcast. Until next time, remember to practice these 3 important elements. Element number 1, every day remember to have a grateful heart and connect to your gratitude. When you're connected to your gratitude, you are connected to positive things and positive feelings and positive emotions, and therefore drawing more positive people, things, and experiences into your life. Number 2, remember every day to ground in love and compassion. First, love and compassion for yourself, because we all need more love and compassion. And then share that love and compassion with others. You know, by giving out more love and compassion, you will receive an abundance of love and compassion in return. And number 3, every day, know that you're not alone on this journey. It's a guided journey. There's always messengers and people helping you. And I say guided by God. Whether it's God to you, universe, higher power, you need to be a good listener and tap into the wisdom of the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, my friends, have a beautiful week. Namaste. The World Healing Tour Movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world.